Hey everybody, so welcome back to Jim Bob's Garden. Alright, so today I want to talk about what to plant in May. So I kind of got behind again for various reasons, and I didn't get a video put out last month. I'm going to try and do better, but at any rate, what we want to talk about today is what to plant this month. Now keep in mind, it's going to get hot. I mean, it's already probably 85 out here. The sun's beating down hard. Pretty rough day to be out here in the garden. Alright, but as far as what to plant in May, there's just not a lot that you can put out in May. And the reason is, it's just the heat is so much and humidity is so much, it really makes it hard to keep anything alive. Even April's been pretty rough here. Been hotter than normal and a lot less rain than we usually get. Like I think to the tune of like 2 inches less than the normal month of April. So I've been watering constantly, trying to keep everything alive. Things are coming along. We are way behind this year. I got started late, and one of the things I'm going to do today is I'm going to harvest some potatoes, and I'll kind of show you what I mean by that. All right, but as far as what you can plant, it's a short list: eggplant, okra, black-eyed peas, sweet potatoes, and winter squash. Now to that, I will add some other things. Like if you want greens through the summer month, longevity spinach has always been a real good one for me. I usually just leave it out like I've got it all over in here under my fig tree. And usually it'll come back from the roots. I've never had a problem with it keeping on coming back. Another thing I want to do is I'm going to plant some Malabar spinach. Get it going, because that's another heat-loving green that you can keep, and it's really nice on burgers and such. It's got a little bit of a unique taste. And then once I clean up my potatoes, I'm going to plant some Egyptian spinach, which is another tasty green if you're into it. Some people don't like the taste. Kind of just depends on you, and the texture. A little bit different. Kind of depends on you and what you like. And then there are some winter squashes you can do. But again, I mean, that's kind of iffy. Just kind of depends on the variety and such down here in Florida. All right? So those are the big things that I like to keep. I like to keep some greens growing. I like to keep some eggplant growing, and let's see, Malabar spinach. And then another thing I'm going to look into this year, if I can find a plant, because I'm thinking I'm too far behind to try and order seeds and then plant them. But I want to try again some Everglades tomato. I got a plant a couple years back, and I don't know if it's just where it was or if I didn't keep it wet enough, but it died. I didn't get anything off of that, the Everglades tomato. But the Everglades tomato is a tomato that likes the heat in the springtime. I'm sorry, in the summertime. Also, what I will do is, I forgot about this, I will plant loofah gourd, because loofah gourd really likes it in the heat. I will plant a variety of bean that actually tastes a lot like a cucumber, and that is the, hang on, let me go look. I'll get right back here. Yeah, that's what's called the Indian snake bean. All right, so we're gonna, I've got some of that growing. Hopefully I'll get some good production out of that. It's a really cool bean, because it's a bean. I don't believe it gets attacked nearly as much as a lot of the cucumbers do. But it also tastes a lot like a cucumber, in my opinion. All right, and they grow really long, and they love the heat. They seem to really like the heat. There are some other varieties of things, if you look around, that will grow. I will keep my kale growing. Usually don't have a lot of issue with kale. I will plant some more turnips, because sometimes they will grow. And then, of course, you know, bunching onions, they'll continue to grow. I have beans and peas in the ground that are actually growing up really nice. I'll show another video later on in the week about that, about what I've got and what's actually growing well. But with that being said, that's what you can plant this time of year. You can also do some research and find out what other heat-loving crops. Keep in mind, we're already in the high 80s. All right, we're going to get into the 90s this year. There's going to be a lot of rain, and one of the things that happens during this season I hadn't really thought about before, because this is really coming up on the dead season for us. June, July, and August, pretty much it's hard to keep anything growing here in Florida, here in the Jacksonville area. One of the reasons is constant humidity and heat, But the other, which I hadn't really thought about, is that you get so much rain, because typically we'll have rain almost every afternoon, right around 3, 4 o'clock, but it washes all the nutrients out of our sandy soil and further down. All right, so now's a great time to compost and mulch. All right, so if you've got a good chunk of compost that you've grown or made, now's a great time to go ahead and get that compost on your soil, and then get some mulch, grass clippings, whatever else you want to. You can go buy mulch. You can use pine needles. You can use pretty much anything that will shade the ground, help keep that ground a little bit cooler, keep some of the moisture in, and hopefully slow down that rain that will push all of those nutrients down into the soil deeper than what the plant roots are actually going. So with that being said, let's talk about potatoes. Okay, a lot of questions about when to harvest your potatoes. Now typically what you're looking for is a dead vine. All right, at least that's what I look at. Like this one here, parts of it are dead, still a little bit alive, but I'm going to go ahead, because I want to clear this spot out anyway for some summertime stuff. I'm going to go ahead and clear this out and then get hopefully whatever potatoes I can. Keeping in mind I planted them way too late, you know, and I'd always read that right around Valentine's Day is the best time, and I don't know if I didn't keep enough water on them, but it seems to me like they should have lasted a little bit longer, the potato plants themselves. That being said, it's been a lot hotter than normal this year, so we're going to see what we get. I have no idea what's under here. We did have a pretty good germination rate, and most of them did come up. And then I'll also take this opportunity to go ahead and weed the garden as I go along. All right, now right here, this is, like I said, a potato plant that's really ready to go. It's ready to be harvested, so I will typically just dig my hands down in there and see what I get. All right, there's a tater. There's a potato. And here's the rotted part of the potato seed. All right. Now, that one plant offered me about that much. Okay, not much potatoes, but I will tell you that that is probably twice the amount that I put in the ground, so I'm still making money on the potatoes. I will dig around here and make sure I didn't miss any. But I do want to tell you that you really need to get your potatoes out of the ground right now, because if you don't, a lot of them will rot. They will just rot into nothingness. Now, it's good compost. It's great for your soil, I'm sure, but it's not going to do a lot for you as far as, you know, having food to eat. And then, you know, when I planted potatoes, I talked about this, but potatoes are cheap. They are one of the cheapest foods around. A lot of volume. It really is easy to get a hold of them. Every grocery store's got potatoes at a reasonable price. So is growing potatoes really beneficial? Well, it all depends on you, your situation, how much space you got, and how much money you have to buy groceries. Okay? But they are one of the cheapest things around. Alright, so with that being said, let me go ahead and clear this whole section out, and I will show you at the end what the total harvest is. Alright, so got it all harvested out, got everything cleaned up, so I can move on to the next thing, which is probably going to be Malabar spinach and some Egyptian spinach, some hot season crops. You know, got to get what I can growing while I still can for the summer. But at any rate, the harvest was truly sad. Well, here, let me take the camera and I'll show you. So there's our harvest. It's not much, probably 2-3 pounds, maybe 4 pounds. Sorry, I had a spider on my camera. Anyway, not a lot of potatoes. They're all kind of small. You can see my hand. Well, now you can't. But, you know, on average, a small potato. I mean, they'll be good for, you know, like stews and such, and probably not a peeler potato. We'll probably just cook them up as is for various different things. They're good in soups and, like I said, in stews and so on. But why? What happened? So I told you I'd tell you, you know, pretty much the successes and the failures. I wouldn't call it a fail. It's probably a break even. Though once you add in the labor and all of that I did, I could have bought a whole bunch of potatoes with just 1 hour of labor, and would beat this getting paid minimum wage. All right. So we did learn some things. All right. One, I think that I don't think I watered enough. I think that's part of the problem. We didn't get any rain all of the month of April as the plants were really growing up. I did have probably half a dozen of them that were decent sized potatoes, you know, about the size of my fist, and they rotted. So it's important with potatoes, once the vines start to die, you really need to get them out of the ground. All right, especially here in Florida. The soil here is really getting hot, and so if it's not shaded out or covered with some mulch or something of that nature, then you're probably going to have the same issues where you have rot. I don't think I planted them early enough. I planted right after Valentine's Day. I probably should have done it at the end of January, so I'm going to put that on my calendar for next year. We're going to plant sooner. I've had a couple times where they froze off, but typically speaking, our last frost is in the middle of February. So if I plant them at the end of January, then they'll be sprouting up about the time we can expect our last frost, which should be okay. And if I got to cover them, I'll cover them. But again, potatoes, I mean, of all the things you can grow in your garden, that's probably one of the easiest to get and the cheapest to buy. So whether or not it's actually a kind of a futile effort anyway is another question altogether. But it is looking a lot better now that I got it all cleaned out, so I can move on to some summer crops and get them growing. Thanks for stopping by. Do me a favor, give me a like and a subscribe, and, you know, share with your friends if you know somebody that might get into some gardening. I am not the expert, but I am learning, and you're welcome to come along with the journey, or for the journey, to see how we succeed and how we fail. All right. Again, thank you for stopping by. Do me a favor, give me that like and a subscribe, and most importantly, grow something. Get something growing in your yard. You'll be amazed how much you can actually get to grow. All right, y'all take care and come back to see me.